Spoiler alert. I love this record. How do I start this review? This is going to be a different one. My first metal review. And it's going to be a positive one. Welcome back to the most important music channel on the internet. Dan will review. I'll be your hostess tonight. And the album that I'm going to be talking about is the new Apparition record, Feel. These guys have the audacity to just burst right out of the gate with like one of the coolest, sickest, most death-defying, one of the most death-defying metal records of the year. I mean, there have been others. They are a Californian death metal band. This is following their Granular Transformation 7-inch, dropped on Profoundlore Records. That's profound. This is not an album that I was expecting to enjoy. I kind of went into it just expecting like another, deathy, maybe a blackish or blackened death metal experience. But no, what I came away from this record with was a blown mind and a lot to say. This thing does such an awesome job of fusing death metal, sludge metal, black metal, metalcore, and thrash metal. There are even portions on this record where we get a little bit of groove metal, funk metal, but just like lathered in distortion. Don't get me wrong, this thing is death metal through and through, but it isn't your average death metal affair. There are so many jazz influenced and dissonant melodies and chord progressions, drums that when they really want to will pummel you. Starting with the opening track, Unequilibrium, which has these really direct metalcore style riffs and little sludgy interstitial moments and like laced throughout the track as well, and a raging final portion with super angular guitar and bass as well. This track is a really nice tone setter for some of the blurring of the lines that we're going to hear throughout the rest of the record. Drowning in the Stream of Consciousness delivers more crunchy guitar and bass drum assault, really thrashy, trebly transition that sort of leads us into this chugging blitzkrieg around the 2-minute mark. I mean, the performances on this thing are so tight and dizzying, it's just like, it's hard to write my thoughts down about it sometimes. We get a little moment of silence, like a brief moment of silence before this super doomy, sludgy breakdown fest with these descending little licks and riffs. It's just such a cohesive listen for how kind of chaotic it becomes at times. Non-locality features this kind of jangly little distorted intro, features some odd time signatures throughout, some more dissonant licks, another helping of sludgy rhythm guitar. I think the stop-start structure of this track really does kind of kill the momentum or the flow a little bit, and there's a kind of generic doom / sludge portion at the end of the track. I do admire the gigantic and really hellish atmosphere of this track quite a bit, but I do have some reservations. Ooh, big stretch. Ooh, big stretch. Perpetually Altered has these whooping, twangy guitars and bass in a super busy, pounding intro, and this time around the sludge sections on this track are so much more satisfying. Throughout this 6-minute runtime, it transitions from furious death metal back to brooding sludge really tastefully. Which is an excellent little guitar solo in the last leg, which kind of sounds a little bit like a horse is like whinnying. Entanglement features these really colorful drum fills. It's like a little solo at the start of the track. We are introduced to more throttling guitars and drums and bass, which leads into this really sort of groovy, bluesy section. We transition out of that back into a more throttling section. Just a freaking roller coaster. More uptight, dissonant leads, just crying and screaming out into the ether. And an icy little dark ambient outro. Just non-stop metallic entertainment from start to finish. Final track, the title track, Feel, nearly 7 minutes in length, which I think may or may not work against it in the end. We get more sludge, but this time around compositionally It's probably one of the more, I kind of hate to say this, but derivative moments. You know, this track features a pretty sick and explosive midsection with more wailing leads. It kind of transitions back out of that and into the very underwhelming, doomy sludge portion that I was talking about just a few seconds ago. And these elements do feel a little bit incongruent sitting next to each other, which doesn't so much leave the record with a bang, but more like a sizzle, which is a little bit unfortunate. But having said all that, this 6-track, 34-ish minute record is, from front to back, really impressive, really tight, really dizzying, entertaining. Let me know if I forgot to mention entertaining. Hard not to have the stank face listening to this thing, and it's all the better for it. Look, I consider myself a little bit of a metal music noob still, a bit of a novice. So if there are any metal fans out there who have heard this record and want to offer their own thoughts, I'm happy to hear them. Do you love this album? Are you just indifferent towards it? Are you despising it? Let me know. I say hell yes to this record. I think I'm gonna have to give it like an 8.6 out of 10. Thank you so much. That give you motion sickness. One day I'll learn how to end my videos. One day. I honestly think world peace is more likely, but that's just me. Like and subscribe, please.